I guess we're live. So, hello and welcome to the second episode of Intern Insights Podcast, a career mentorship initiative by BSW. So, here we'll be talking to our successful seniors from different fields and learn from their experiences and insights. So, I'm Sairaj and co-hosting the session we have Krishant. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. We are going to explore the much exciting and the celebrated tech world and the roles of software development engineers. To help us understand more about careers in software development, we have invited four guests who are currently working as SD interns in various tech giants. In our panel today, we have Divyanshu, Kushal, Vidushi, and Manas. So we would like to start the podcast with a short introduction from the panel members. So let's start with Divyanshu, sir.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so hi everyone, I am Divyanshu. I'm a computer science student and I'm currently interning at Samsung Korea. And I like CS stuff and all, and other than that, I like playing like chess online, playing badminton and all that. That's what I do usually.
That's great. Manas, sir.
Hey guys, I'm Manas. I'm from the electrical engineering and my intern is at Graviton. About me, I just like to play things. It can be any game, it can be a video game, it can be foosball, it can be anything. I just like to have fun. Okay. That is my motto of life. Yes.
That's great. Vidushi, ma'am.
Yes, hi everyone. So I'm Vidushi and I'm currently interning at Google India. About me, I enjoy art and I was also like director of fine arts club in my last year. So that's all about.
Glad to be here. Kushal, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Kushal Gupta and I'm currently interning at Rubrik and I'm from computer science and completed my third year. So I'm from Udaygiri hostel and I live in Mumbai. So apart from that, I uh, I did like see computer science things beforehand and I do enjoy programming. And also apart from that, in my free time, I like watching movies and playing different sports like football, table tennis, badminton, etc.
That's great. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today. We are very excited to hear and learn from your journey so far. So let's get started with the first question for the day. We often hear about software development, as a very popular and lucrative career option for a lot of IITians. So if you can tell us briefly about what exactly a software engineer does, maybe touch upon the roles and responsibilities and the kind of work that you guys do in your respective companies. I would like to address this question to Divyanshu sir first.
So like as a role of a software engineer, like yeah, you have to write code for the company you're working in. And the difference from I think university level stuff is that like generally corporate companies like to work on a very specific programming language for their needs. Like Google and other say Amazon, they'll have sort of a different language for the particular need. Or for some HFT would have some particular like there's some of them work on functional programming languages and all that. So you have to work on a specific programming language that the company needs, or some particular framework on that, or on a famous programming language, something like that. So so you have to basically write code according to their needs, and usually big companies have like these big code repositories. So initially you have to understand the structure of their code, how they have implemented their stuff. You have to learn sort of a new programming language, which might be a bit different. So so for like some of my friends are working on like some particular version of SQL, which is not a common version, but that specific company has developed it according to their needs. So yeah, that's basically it. And if you have a good knowledge of data structures, I think it's not very hard work to do.
Right. Manasa, would you like to take the question next?
Sure. I mean, what I've seen in the firm, the role of a software developer is doing anything and everything that the system requires. I mean, our work is very varied. Some people are working on, say, networks who have to receive information from the exchanges. Some people are working on database, the ones who are parsing data and feeding it to the database. Some people are working on the high performance computing HPC, and it's very weird. My work is in a different field. It's in connectivity, so it's basically doing anything and everything the firm requires you to do. I mean, you have. I mean, we have 11 software interns at Graviton this summer, and everybody has a project in a different field. So there's really no, let's say, overlapping. And languages specific, so because it's software in HFT, everything is C++.
Right.
There's just no other language. um, that's basically it. I mean, for other companies, I know one person has to implement an entire Python library by himself. Okay, for
Okay.
another company which is machine learning based on software, you have to implement machine learning algorithms. So the work of a software engineer is very varied, and it depends from company to company and field to field.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sure many of our listeners are curious about the best time to start preparing for a SDA role. Okay, so when did you guys start preparing for your internships? Kushal sir and Vidushi ma'am, we'd really love to hear your take on this.
So for internship, like uh, all companies have an initial test and then an interview. Uh, so the main thing is like what is asked in the tests and the interviews. So regarding software development, I think the most important thing is competitive programming. Most of the companies ask questions on competitive programming. Yeah, I worked on that, and my process was I started preparing 2 months earlier itself. So during the summer break itself, I did a lot of CP and from various websites, and yeah, so I spent 2 months dedicated 2 months entirely on this, and I think yeah, mainly CP is the main thing. Uh, so there are some companies which ask questions related to machine learning and other like AI stuff and computer architecture and other things, but mostly as I've seen in software companies, they ask question on CP. Yeah.
Okay, that's really great. Vidushi ma'am?
I think you're in a good position if like the person is starting even in the summer break, as Kushal also mentioned. So it's just that you should be clear about what topics are like mainly the company focuses on and which you are weak at also, and utilize the best way possible. Like the 2 months you have, you should utilize it in the best way accordingly. You can follow, like the person can follow some priority based approach. Like some topics are more important than others, I feel, like the tree traversal, graph theory. So such topics are more focused in the coding tests, and like if obviously if the person has started preparing in advance, then it is definitely helpful. It will provide him an edge before others. So yeah, I think if he's preparing in advance, then he can progress in a more inclusive way.
Okay, great. So while we are just starting out, हमको पता नहीं होता है कि कौन सी फील्ड हमारे लिए बेस्ट है. So what made you choose SDA out of all the potential career options available out there?
Uh,
Uh,
okay, so uh, yeah, I'll take this. So mainly there are two types of companies, HFTs and software, and both of them ask different types of questions. So one type is CP, and the other is quant related questions, which are more focused on the mathematics side of it. So I don't think you decide beforehand, like you commit to one type of company. So I think you should prepare for both, and yeah. So as your tests cleared and as you will be shortlisted for some of the companies, and like going forward you can further decide. So I think you should keep your options open and prepare for both. uh, More specifically, if you are more interested in software, so yeah, maybe you can focus more on CP. But yeah, I studied for both, and I think you should keep your options open.
Cool.
So the next question that I have is, like we all know, Samsung and Google are amongst the top most tech and the popular tech giants, right? So it must be very interesting to work at these companies. So Vidushi ma'am, could you share the experience of your Google office? That could be a great motivation for a lot of the audience present.
Yeah, so here at Google, open work culture is followed, first of all. So, like, you can work from wherever you want. You can work like whenever you want, and it's not like there's any fixed foundation on each and every day. It's just that you have to abide by some deadlines, some benchmarks. About the Google Office, obviously, there are so many benefits of working from the office. Like one of the most talked about things is obviously Google Food. So you can have enjoy the free food every day. Like it's not about if you are an intern or if you are a part-time employee. It's open for all, and you can have variety of cuisines and North, South Indian, Italian, Chinese, anything. So this is one of the benefits of working at Google Office. Apart from that, some benefits are like for all the SD firms, as I have heard from my friends also, like gymming facilities, the recreational things. Uh, the companies organizes a plethora of like recreational activities for fun, and there's a work flexibility here, accommodation things, and like the modern interiors make a good vibe. Like you feel like working at office. So yeah, it's pretty much like exploring technical forms. So yeah,
Could you tell us about your work experience so far?
yeah. So out of some 15-20 product areas at Google, I am in Google Maps. So my project is a little open-ended. I have to analyze some sort of past data and kind of automate that into uh, into a model basically, which is a new initiative in Google Maps for user reviews. So yeah, and I guess it's if we consider the work experience, it's pretty good for an intern. You are free to discuss your project with anybody without any prior appointments. You are free to discuss and like block any appointment with your host, your mentor. So, and apart from that, you can work from your home also. Like the work leisures and benefits are pretty good at Google, so you don't feel like uh, pressure of work.
That's very motivating to hear. Divyanshu sir, if you could tell us about your Samsung Korea's experience, the office and the work culture.
So it has not been the best experience so far because our intern was supposed to be in Korea and that was what was in the offer letter, but it was suddenly shifted 1 month before to work from home. So it has been like very like it was a huge bummer getting shifted to an a work from home intern. But so I can't tell about the office, but I'll tell you the work culture of Samsung, and I like the work culture and they're very like quite polite and all. So there are a bit of small cultural issues because they're Korean and all that, but still the people are very accommodating and there's not a lot of work pressure, so it's quite chilled out. But yeah, so to my juniors, I'd say that even if Samsung writes on its offer letter is going to be in Korea, it can be shifted to work from home. So be prepared for that. Yeah.
I guess guys definitely take note of that.
Okay, so
Cool.
next up we have what are some of the courses that come in handy for SDE prep? Students from non-circuital branches generally don't take up all 106. So how should they go about it?
Uh, so I'll say that call 106 and call 351. DSA and ADA, Analysis and Design of Algorithms. These are the two courses which I found are the most important, like from the interview perspective. Uh, but the point is that these are uh, the topics which are covered here. They are a subset of what you will encounter if you like go do questions on various CP websites on your own. So I think taking these courses is not compulsory, and like it doesn't even matter if you are preparing on your own. So, for example, you can give contests on codeforces and codechef regularly. So that will give you good experience of the different types of questions which are commonly occurring in interviews. And apart from that, uh, more focused on from interviews perspective, lead code questions are very important. Uh, so in the last 15-20 days, I did a lot of lead code questions, and these are definitely important. So yeah, I think taking call 106 and call 351, that will definitely like get you started, and like uh, but even if you're not doing these courses, CP will have you covered. Like there are a lot of questions on codeforces, codechef, lead code, these websites, and there are a lot of online resources also, like CP algorithms and all that. I'm sure you must know all about that. But so yeah.
सर डिफिकल्टी क्या होती है इन कोर्सेज की? कॉल 106 को तो स्पेशली बहुत टफ माना जाता है.
Uh, so call 106, it goes more on the data structure side, like it touches the basics of a lot of data structures, but yeah, it is definitely not enough for CP. And even call 351 ADA, that also touches a lot of like DP, trees, graphs, all that. So yeah, call ADA is more focused towards like more relevant for interviews. So yeah, if you get a chance to do that course, I think you should do that to at least get started. And apart from that, CP goes very in depth, as you already know. Like there are like on code forces also, you must see like people like Kushal Gupta and so on, like they are preparing for years, and you can like always go more in depth, but uh, focusing more on the you should keep your focus on the interviews and like see what kinds of questions are asked in interviews, and prepare more on that.
Okay, so Kushal sir, we have Rubrik में intern कर रहे हो, right? We have heard कि Rubrik is renowned for its amazing work culture and competitive salary packages, right? So we'd love to know more about your journey, work experience, and insights into the company's exceptional reputation.
So yeah, Rubrik, I think is a great company. Like as Vidushi said, all the benefits of Google are also there in Rubrik. So we are free to work from home, and yeah, there is a lot of free food, and yeah, it is amazing. More on the work side, I think the work here is great. People are really like dedicated in what they do, and uh, they are very smart, and they'll help you out always. Like you have to take the initiative, and like they will always help you out, your team. So I'll tell you about what I am currently doing. So currently I'm working on Scala. So there are a lot of languages which are used in Rubrik, Golang, Scala, C++, Java, all that. But all that doesn't matter. Like if you learn one language, the others are very easy to pick up. Uh, so my work focuses on uh, writing a new service in Scala. So mainly, like currently, there is a single code base on Rubrik, and like I take help from like I pick up code from other places, like study it and like build my code. So so I think as compared to CP, the work is definitely easier. Like the things you learn in CP won't be used here. Uh, Large parts of it, but you have to prepare CP for interviews, and like once you enter the company, the work is definitely will definitely be manageable, and I think the work is like very easy compared to even the assignments which are done in the different courses in CS at least. So yeah, the work life is great. Like as compared to HFTs, you must have heard like they have long working hours and all that, but here the like mahol काफी chill है. और काफ़ी आराम से लोग आते जाते रहते हैं, कभी कभी ऑफिस भी नहीं आते, आराम से घर से काम करते रहते हैं, पता नहीं काम करते भी हैं कि नहीं. So yeah, it is definitely a lot chiller here, and you can definitely feel it, like the relaxation part at least.
That's great. So I guess CP.
मैं बोला था टेस्टिंग का टी फूड में काफी फोकस किया जा रहा है, तो listeners please keep this in mind while selecting your company.
I'm sorry, I
Exactly.
didn't get it. Hello.
Right. So the question that I was asking is CP has been emphasized a lot right from the beginning of the interview. So this one question that we have is, now that we have 2 months left, and let's say somebody is new to the field, they're starting off with CP. Any tips or advices that you guys have to someone who's starting off in CP? And this question is for Manas sir and Kushal sir, if you can take them.
देखिए यार, इम्पोर्टेंस सारे के सारे जो टेस्ट होने वाले हैं कंपनीज के सीपी के ही होंगे, ठीक है. इट्स अ सिंपल थिंग. अप्रोक्सीमेटली 400 पीपल और समथिंग विल अप्लाई फॉर द कंपनीज, इवन जो केवल सर्किट के हैं, जो सबके लिए ओपन है, मोर, ठीक है. सो कंपनीज डोंट रियली हैव अ गुड वे ऑफ शॉर्ट लिस्टिंग people from that. They don't have an easy metric apart from CP. They'll take a CP test and जो टॉप परफॉर्म करेगा उसको सीधा सॉर्ट कर देगी, ठीक है. सो इम्पोर्टेंस है ये, ठीक है. almost every single company will take a CP test. There are very few companies जो CP का टेस्ट नहीं लेंगी, ठीक है. जो हो सकता है केवल CG पे शॉर्ट लिस्टिंग कर देगा, केवल CP पे शॉर्ट लिस्टिंग करेंगे. मैक्सिमम कंपनी CP पूछेंगे. तो इम्पोर्टेंस वहीं से समझ में आ जाती है उसकी, ठीक है. इफ यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू CP, प्रॉब्लम्स विल कम. मतलब आई कैन गिव एग्जांपल्स फ्रॉम हमारे इंटर्नशिप सीजन में, जहाँ पे देयर आर पीपल से फ्रॉम इलेक्ट्रिकल, ठीक है, जिन्होंने सीपी बहुत किया. दे डिडंट हैव दैट गुड ऑफ अ सीजी, दे डिडंट हैव मेनी प्रोजेक्ट्स, प्रोबब्ली 0 प्रोजेक्ट्स, ठीक है. पर उनकी सीपी की वजह से शॉर्टलिस्ट आई हैं डे 1 पे भी बहुत सारी. एंड देयर कुड बी पीपल फ्रॉम CS जिनकी 9.8 टाइप सीजी है, ठीक है, येट उनकी शॉर्टलिस्ट नहीं है डे 1 पे बिकॉज ऑफ नो सीपी, ठीक है. ऐसे केसेस हैं, एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, एंड टॉप एयर्स वगैरह सब कुछ. तो इम्पोर्टेंस वहीं समझ में आती है उसकी. आई डोंट थिंक आई नीड टू से एनीथिंग मोर ऑन दैट, ठीक है. उसके अलावा एनी टिप्स एंड एडवाइस, देख सिंपल है. मतलब हाँ, एडवाइस में ऐसे कि डोंट बी अफ्रेड टू गिव टाइम, एंड डोंट बी अफ्रेड कि अगर तुम्हें क्वेश्चन टफ लग रहा है तो उससे भाग जाओगे, ठीक है. आई मीन 2 महीने ही बचे हैं लोगों के लिए, तो they'll be like कि I should figure out कि सबसे प्रोडक्टिव मेरे लिए 2 महीने क्या रहेंगे, ठीक है. These are the questions and I'll do this. कुछ क्वेश्चन उनको टफ लग रहे होंगे, they'll run from that, ठीक है. I'd say don't do that because those are the questions you learn from, ठीक है. जो क्वेश्चंस तुम्हें थोड़ा बहुत आता है कैसे करना है, ठीक है, उनसे उतना ज़्यादा सीखने को नहीं मिलेगा. जब तुम खुद 2-3 घंटे दोगे ना किसी क्वेश्चन पे जिसमें नए कॉन्सेप्ट्स इन्वॉल्व होंगे, वहाँ से प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स बिल्ड होती हैं, ठीक है. दैट्स व्हाई आई ऑलवेज रिकमेंड codeforces टू पीपल कि मतलब उसमें नए नए क्वेश्चंस आते रहते हैं, एंड उसमें पहले से टाइप डिफाइंड होता है. जैसे लीड कोड एंड इंटरव्यू पहले से टाइप डिफाइंड होता है कि इस टाइप का क्वेश्चन है, तो पीपल उसी डायरेक्शन में सोचते हैं. कोडफोर्सेस पे ये चीज़ डिफरेंट होती है कि कुछ पता नहीं होता पहले, सो यू हैव टू थिंक ऑफ एन न्यू अप्रोच ऑल बाय योरसेल्फ, ठीक है. दैट्स वन थिंग आईड से कि टाइम इन्वेस्ट करने से डरना मत. क्वेश्चंस टफ लगे स्टिल ट्राई करना अटेम्प्ट करने की, ठीक है. एंड रेपिटेटिव क्वेश्चंस मत करना कि तुमने एक टाइप की 2-3 क्वेश्चन कर लिए, नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड इट, एंड देन यू स्टिल इन्वेस्टिंग टाइम अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन उसी टाइप के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हुए, एंड यू थिंक यू आर अ मास्टर ऑफ दैट, बट एक्चुअली में जो लास्ट 10 क्वेश्चन तुमने किए तुम उससे कुछ भी सीखे नहीं हो. जस्ट डोंट डू दैट.
Could you tell us about your journey of CP? I've heard it's very motivating, so yes, would be glad to know.
Probably मैंने CP स्टार्ट की थी हम फर्स्ट ईयर में, ठीक है. मतलब आई स्टार्टेड ऑन कोड शेफ आफ्टर माई फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर, जिसमें core 100 था, ठीक है. उसकी छुट्टियों में स्टार्ट किया एंड आई वाजंट दैट गुड, ठीक है. इवन इन उसके बाद मैंने कोड फोर्सेस स्टार्ट किया टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द फर्स्ट ईयर, ठीक है. मैं स्पेशलिस्ट बन गया था, ठीक है. उस लाइक टुवर्ड्स द एंड ठीक ठाक हुआ एंड स्पेशलिस्ट बन गया था, ठीक है. बट आफ्टर दैट आई लेफ्ट इट एंड पूरे सेकेंड ईयर मैंने छोड़ रखी थी. एंड देन बिफोर इंटर्न सीजन मार्च वगैरह मुझे हिट किया कि मतलब ठीक है, आई एंजॉय CP अ लॉट, मज़ा आता है, ठीक है. एंड वो इम्पोर्टेंट भी है इंटर्नशिप सीजन के लिए, तो कर ही लेते हैं ढंग से. तो उसके बाद फ्रॉम से मतलब अप्रैल एंड मई के बाद, स्पेशली आफ्टर मेरे मेजर्स हो गए थे, आई इन्वेस्टेड ऑल द टाइम आई हैड इनटू CP. मतलब ऐसा था कि जब मैं घर पे था कि 24 आवर्स है ना, तो मतलब लंच डिनर एंड ब्रेकफास्ट के अलावा बाकी जितना टाइम था वो लैपटॉप पे CP करते जा रहा था. उस टाइप की डाल रखी थी डेडिकेशन। एंड धीरे धीरे आई रोज मतलब एक्सपर्ट बना था, फिर मतलब 1400 समथिंग स्पेशलिस्ट से 1890 तक गया था मैक्स, ठीक है। एंड उस पॉइंट पे मतलब मुझे पता था टुवर्ड्स द एंड कि मतलब मुझसे बेटर बहुत कम लोग होंगे मतलब मेरे ईयर में इंस्टीट्यूट में, तो आराम से मैं कर लूंगा टेस्ट, जब भी टेस्ट आएंगे तो मैं बहुत आराम से कर लूंगा। दैट वाज द जर्नी।
That is in fact काफी motivating sir. I would also like to ask the same question from Kushal sir, आपकी CP की जर्नी के बारे में।
मेरे सीपी जर्नी, एज आई सेड, मैंने आई डिड सीपी फॉर 2 months, लाइक serious CP for 2 months. Before that, I must have given 2-3 interviews, but yeah. So in these 2 months, I spent a lot of time. Like Manas said, you have to be focused, and after a time, like after a while, you will start enjoying it. If you will see, like it is uh, somewhat like JEE preparation, but yeah, it is more enjoyable than that because the questions are more interesting, and uh, at least it was very fun for me. So it is important to, as Manas said, to identify the different types of questions. Like you should do different questions from code forces. Code forces में filter का भी बार होता है कि अलग अलग रेटिंग से क्वेश्चंस कर सकते हैं, तो मे बी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम 1100 to 1200 and then rise to like keep increasing to 1400 1600 and all that. And apart from that, कोड शेफ में भी काफ़ी अच्छे क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, तो प्रीवियस कॉन्टेस्ट के क्वेश्चंस देखोगे तो ज़्यादा रिलेवेंट होते हैं, मतलब इंटरव्यू पर्सपेक्टिव से ज़्यादा रिलेवेंट होते हैं कोड शेफ के क्वेश्चंस। एंड लास्टली आई वुड ऑल्सो लाइक अगेन मैं बोलूँगा कि लीड कोड के क्वेश्चंस भी करना, दे आर वेरी ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज दे आर डायरेक्टली पिक्ड अप फ्रॉम इंटरव्यूज, एंड एट लीस्ट इन द फाइनल डेज लीड कोड क्वेश्चंस आर ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो मेरी जर्नी के बारे में, सो in these last in the 2 months, I became an expert and like got a rating of around 1750, I guess, and like it gave me confidence, and like I was sure that I would be able to like crack most of the questions in the tests. And yeah, if you like continue practicing and do different types of questions, like some of the questions, like there are only a limited set of questions. Like if you do enough questions, then you will get the hang of it, and like other questions will be derived from these questions. So yeah, it will give you confidence and it will increase your knowledge and it will be fun for you. And even after the interview process was over, I thought कि चलो candidate master बनने की try करते हैं. So I did CP for another I think 15 days or 20 days. So I rose to 1850 and then semester का load बढ़ गया, फिर मैंने छोड़ दी। मतलब बाद में करने की जरूरत नहीं है CP. Yeah, mostly like for interviews and tests it is very important.
Thank you sir.
Next question is, Manas sir, which websites and resources did you refer to while preparing for your internship?
Yeah, resources तो not much, but website में तो codeforces for the win, मतलब it is where I spent my days and nights for 2 months आराम से, ठीक है। मोस्टली मतलब आई कुड से मेरा मार्च से जून टाइप फेज जो था पूरा कोड फोर्सेस पे गया था, ठीक है। वो तो हीट मैप भी दिख जाता है लोगों को, उस पर दिख जाएगा। बाकी उसी से मैंने पूरी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स बिल्ड की थी, सब कुछ मतलब उससे बिल्ड किया था। एंड ओनली टुवर्ड्स द एंड मैंने लास्ट के 15 डेज में इंटरव्यू बिल्ड किया था थोड़ा सा, सो दैट थोड़ी बहुत डीएससी की स्किल्स रहे। मतलब ऐसा ना कि कोड फोर्सेस में जो क्वेश्चंस आते हैं वो थोड़े बहुत लॉजिक बिल्डिंग के होते हैं, ठीक है। you're given some conditions and then you have to build a logic and उससे algorithm build करते हो आप, ठीक है। DSA क्वेश्चंस थोड़े से डिफरेंट होते हैं, उसमें आपको स्पेसिफिक डेटा स्ट्रक्चर, स्पेसिफिक अप्रोचेस होती हैं जो काम कर जाती हैं मोस्ट चीज़ों पे, ठीक है। तो आई डिड इंटरव्यू बिट इन द एंड टू कवर द मेन थिंग्स, ठीक है। बाकी तो इट वाज ऑल कोड फोर्सेस फॉर मी।
तो जब हम कोडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स की बात करते हैं तो मेजरली 4 नाम आते हैं, लीड कोड, कोड फोर्सेस, इंटरव्यू बिट और एंड कोड शेफ। तो आपको कोड फोर्सेस इतना ज़्यादा क्यों पसंद है ओवर द अदर्स?
हो सकता है पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस ही हो। आई मीन आई एम प्रीटी श्योर 4 स्पीकर्स इस मीट में हर किसी की अपनी अपनी होगी। मेरी पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस कोड फोर्सेस इसलिए, एक तो यूआई अच्छा है, ठीक है। पहले मैं कोड शेफ करता था, आई स्विच टू कोड फोर्सेस बिकॉज मुझे यूजर इंटरफेस उसका अच्छा लगा, ठीक है। बट आफ्टर दैट कोड फोर्सेस में बहुत अच्छे अच्छे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, मतलब उसकी कम्युनिटी काफ़ी बड़ी है। तो मतलब जैसे कॉन्टेस्ट होते हैं तो कॉन्टेस्ट बनाने वाले भी तो लोग होते हैं ना, तो यू कैन सी कि प्रॉब्ली रशिया से 4 लोग हैं जो कॉन्टेस्ट बना रहे हैं, ठीक है। देयर ऑब्वियसली प्रोज एट सीपी, ठीक है। एंड तो ऐसे करके मतलब एक बहुत वाइड सी कम्युनिटी है जो फिर ब्लॉग पोस्ट डालते हैं जिनसे आप सीखते रहते हो, छोटी छोटी चीज़ें सीखते रहते हो। एंड उसके अलावा क्वेश्चन टफर लेवल के आते हैं। मतलब ऑनेस्टली मैंने बस करने की कोशिश की थी ये सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स, मुझे बाकी तीनों प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे कभी उतना मज़ा नहीं आया। कोड फोर्सेस जैसे ही हिट किया था तो मतलब मज़ा आया था, एंड आई हैव स्टक विद दैट एवर सिंस। इतना सिंपल रीज़न था। बाकी इंटरव्यू बिट एंड लीड कोड में मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा डेटा स्ट्रक्चर टाइप प्रोग्रामिंग अच्छी होती है। तो जैसे वो क्वेश्चन होते हैं जो मतलब काफ़ी सालों से चल रहे हैं, ठीक है, एंड उन्हीं के अराउंड चीज़ें आती हैं, वो अगर प्रैक्टिस करनी है तो आई थिंक लीड कोड एंड इंटरव्यू वुड बी स्लाइटली बेटर, ठीक है। बट मतलब वो बस एक बार तुमने बेसिक कंप्लीट कर लिया उसके बाद तो आई ऑलवेज से कोड फोर्सेस पे रहो।
Okay, cool. Vidushi ma'am, would you like to answer the same question?
Yeah, most of the points are same actually for me also. Like I would also recommend if you are going to start from the basic, to पहले interview bit and lead code where you can start with topic wise PSA problems. उससे you get a hold on basic stuff like how to approach any topic. Uh, and like later in later half maybe if someone is preparing for these 2 months, in the first half, you can focus more on topic wise approach, and in the later half, you can focus more on competitive part like code forces, contests, and all. So, yeah, that's true that in code forces, the problems are more logic and tricky based. So, yeah, if you want to practice or get a good hold on some topic, then I would recommend interview bit and lead code. You can have a company wise filter also on lead code and interview bit. And if you want to like get a good competitive part and add to more on that, then I think you should go on code forces. I haven't tried code shift. I have no idea.
Okay, that cleared a lot of doubts regarding the coding platforms.
Right. So one of the common question that comes up is the language that we should be focusing on during the preparation. So Divyanshu sir and Kushal sir, could you tell us about what languages did you guys focus during your preparation time, and how is it different from what you're working with right now during your internship?
So yeah, I'll start. So I think C++ would be the most important language if I have to state one language. So, and I think it is sufficient. So if you are good enough in C++ and you are doing CP in C++, then like that's fine enough. And I don't think you need to like learn a new language, something like that. And when it comes to like what we do in companies, so that is very different. So for example, right now I have to like implement some machine learning pipeline, and it is based on some machine learning framework, something like that. So that is not related, and honestly, it is not very hard to change to a different language. So yeah, if you want to stick to one language, I'll say that C++ is a good language, and some companies even go on to ask some particular C++ related questions, like related to some C++ features like virtual functions, classes, something like that. So yeah, I think like for quant SDA roles also C++ is the most relevant language. So yeah, but if you do languages like Python or Java as well, so I'm pretty sure like in all like coding questions in companies, you get the option of at least these three languages for Python, C++, and Java. So if you are doing in any of them, I think that's fine too. But if you are like trying to pick up a new language, I think C++ would be the best.
Kushal sir, would you like to take the question?
Yes, so I'll agree with Divyanshu. C++ is a nice language for CP. It is fast and yeah, it is very easy to pick up. Like if you start in Java, you have to learn about classes and object-oriented programming also. So that may be nice, but yeah, for CP, C++ is good and enough. And regarding what is being used, as I said earlier, I'm working on Scala, but that does not matter like what you'll be working on later. So because as I said, other languages are very easy to pick up if you know one language, and like you should not like think about what you'll do in the company, because that will be, I'm saying that will be easier compared to the interview process. So yeah, you should stick to one language. C++ is good, and many people also like do CP in, I guess, in Python, and some also do in Java. So yeah, it's up to you. Uh, so
Right. Thanks for that.
Okay, so अभी interviews तो खाली 2 months है, ठीक है. So how should a third year student plan things ahead? Manas and Lucy ma'am, it would be great if you could give a brief roadmap.
फर्स्ट I'd like to talk about जो लैंग्वेजेस वाली चीज़ थी. मैं अभी वैसे सीपी पाइथन में करता हूँ, ठीक है. इट्स अ थिंग दैट हैज़ बीन स्टीरियोटाइप्ड अगेंस्ट अ लॉट, ठीक है. बट ऑनेस्टली फॉर एवरीवन, जो भी ये कंपैरेटिव प्रोग्रामिंग की साइट्स होती हैं जो कंस्ट्रेंट्स डिसाइड करती हैं, ये टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के हिसाब से करती हैं, ठीक है. कोई ऐसे डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं करता है कि यू हैव अ हायर कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी पासिंग इन सी प्लस प्लस एंड सेम पाइथन में पास नहीं हो रही है, वैसे सेट नहीं करते हैं. बहुत रेयर क्वेश्चंस होंगे, वरना उनका काम, जो टेस्टर्स होते हैं उनका काम ही ये होता है कि वो ऐसे सेट करेंगे कि एक ही टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी पे चीज़ें पास हो, ठीक है, उसके ऊपर पास ना हो. कभी बहुत टाइट चीज़ें भी सेट कर देंगे कि एन स्क्वायर लॉग एन टाइप्स पास हो जाए, एन स्क्वायर लॉग स्क्वायर एन भी पास ना हो, ऐसी चीज़ें भी कर देते हैं, ठीक है. बट इट्स ऑल टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, ठीक है. बहुत इवन तुम्हारे जो इंटर्नशिप के टेस्ट होंगे, ठीक है, उसमें भी मोस्टली मतलब चल जाएगा. मैंने सारे टेस्ट ऑलमोस्ट उनमें पाइथन अवेलेबल थी, सब पाइथन में दिए हैं, बिकॉज इट वॉज माई फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज, ठीक है. एंड कभी कोई इशू नहीं आया, ठीक है. ओनली जो HFTs थी कुछ कुछ, उन्होंने अपने टेस्ट में कंपल्सरी C++ कर दिया था, ठीक है. दैट्स व्हेयर आई हैड टू यूज C++. तो फॉर दैट आई वुड रिकमेंड कि सब लोग C++ सीख लेना, ठीक है. बी एम्बिडेक्स्ट्रस, ठीक है. अगर तुम्हें कोई और लैंग्वेज पसंद है, एटलीस्ट C++ जानो, ताकि वहाँ पे तुम कम्प्लीटली ऐसे खड़े ना रहो, ठीक है. बट इफ यू प्रेफर अनदर लैंग्वेज, इट्स ओके, ठीक है. जस्ट बी फास्ट इन इट. मतलब ऐसा मत करना कि तुम्हें कुछ कुछ चीज़ें पता नहीं उस लैंग्वेज की एंड उसकी वजह से योर एल्गोरिथम इज स्लोअर, ठीक है. लाइक पाइथन में एक बहुत सिंपल चीज़ होती है, आई डोंट नो हाउ रिलेवेंट दिस इज, बट पाइथन में स्ट्रिंग्स म्यूटेबल नहीं होती हैं, मतलब हाँ इम्यूटेबल होती हैं, एंड बाकी C++ में म्यूटेबल होती हैं. तो कभी कभार जब रिकर्सिव स्ट्रिंग एडिशन होती है तो वो पाइथन में एन स्क्वायर लेता है, नॉर्मल में एन, एंड फिर लोग ब्लेम करते हैं पाइथन को कि नहीं पाइथन स्लो है. दैट्स नॉट इट गाइस. वो एक्चुअली में इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की डिफरेंस है. तो ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं. बट इफ़ यू लाइक अ लैंग्वेज, यू कैन डू CP इन इट, ठीक है. इन पे भी, प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे भी, एंड टेस्ट में भी, ठीक है. टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी पे सब कुछ होगा, इट वोंट बी द लैंग्वेज, ठीक है. उसके अलावा कमिंग टू द एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन, रोड मैप तो यार स्पेसिफिकली इतना कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. मैंने तो बिकॉज मैं कोड फोर्सेस कहता हूँ हमेशा, आइड से गो ऑन टू कोड फोर्सेस, ठीक है, और वट एवर साइड यू प्रेफर, एंड जस्ट इन्वेस्ट एज मच टाइम एज यू कैन, ठीक है. देयर इज नो, मतलब आई वोंट गो दी लीड कोड और इंटरव्यू इट वे कि यू डू स्टैक्स नाउ एंड यू डू एरेज नाउ एंड ऐसे कर करके, ठीक है. आइड से जस्ट गो ऑन टू दीज साइट्स एंड जितना टाइम इन्वेस्ट कर सकते करो, फोकस ऑन लर्निंग, ठीक है. 2 महीने, प्रोबेबली नेक्स्ट 1.5 months तो मिनिमम ये करो ही करो, ठीक है. लास्ट के 15 days में यू कैन थिंक अबाउट कि ओके मेरी जो इंटरव्यू होगी उसकी प्रिपरेशन कैसे करनी है मुझे. थोड़ी सी बीच में CV बिल्डिंग के भी शायद 4-5 दिन आएंगे, वहाँ पे ढंग से चीज़ें डाल देना, ठीक है. प्रोजेक्ट्स रेलिवेंट ऊपर डाल देना, कॉल्स जो रेलिवेंट हो गए, स्कॉलास्टिक पॉइंट्स ऊपर डाल देना. बाकी आई से जस्ट गो ऑन टू दीस साइट्स एंड कंप्लीटली टाइम इन्वेस्ट करो. यू विल नो कि तुम्हारे लिए क्या नया इंटरेस्टिंग है, ठीक है, एंड उसमें बस टाइम इन्वेस्ट करते जाना. दैट्स इट.
Vidushi ma'am, could you throw light on the same कि आगे की road map, what do you think it should be for somebody who's in their second year and 2 महीने में intern है?
Like it depends on how much time he already has invested in it. Because like if he's very new to it, then he can't just hop onto code forces and do the contests and stuff, because he needs to build up his uh, basic stuff as well, Pele. So I think like maybe some priority can be given to some topics like binary search, dynamic programming, bit manipulation, uh, graph theory, and tree traversal. These 5 topics I think are the most focused ones. So like he can practice a basic if he hasn't yet on any platform, code forces, lead code, interview, but topic wise problems can be sorted. And like in a month or so he can practice the basic stuff, and then he has to like give some time to like time consume this contest like code forces, because ultimately the real uh, coding test will be time constrained, so he or she has to practice that also. So if he's new to CP, then maybe give some time to building the like basic stuff and then switch to codeforces itself.
Right. Now that we also spoke about CV making, could you guys give us an idea about how focused should the CV making part be done during preparation for tech? As in, what are the points that we must be focusing upon while making our CV for tech roles and various companies? Vidushi ma'am, could you take that question and then we'll ask Divyanshu sir?
I think like for many SD roles, passing the threshold was the only thing for CGPA. Projects, I would recommend that you should include all your technical projects which you have done so far, and like there's some basic techniques of writing projects and like CV. You should highlight, uh, and you should be to the point first of all to whatever you have done in the project. You should highlight the main keywords, and it should be such that it conveys what all you learned from in the project and what all skills you deployed in that project. So yeah, highlighting and being to the point is one thing which is important while writing any project in CV. Apart from that, you should write all your technical skills which you have, like all the programming languages, all the dev tools which you have used till now. Like these things are small, but these matter. Uh, like in overall, when somebody sees your CV, it matters like how many technical skills you have been doing. So yeah.
Divyanshu sir?
Yeah, so I'd agree with Vidushi, like just like she said. So, like while making your CV or resume, like you should again mention your technical skills and the projects you have done, and and research interns and all that if you have done. But as an honest opinion, I'd say that what I learned from our intern season was that I like put a lot of focus on making resume and all that, but honestly, this doesn't matter as much as you think it matters. You just have to mention your points clearly on your resume. Don't overthink on making your resume. Don't try to, like do small, simple projects just to fill up your resume and all that. Just mention things you have done. Don't take it extremely seriously. What I learned from my intern season was that, again, the coding tests were the most important thing, and other than that, if your resume is okay, like if you have done one or two projects, you have done some research intern, and even if you have not done research intern, it doesn't matter a lot. Just mention what you have done. You should be good in programming, the programming test that you'll face, and yeah, I think that is enough. So while building resume is important, should also make sure that you don't overemphasize on building a resume, and yeah, that's what I'd say. And for a software role, I don't think PORs matter a lot. So maybe you can put one or two if they are very good ones. But other than that, just focus on your technical skills and projects. And I think CS and E people or anyone that has taken computer science courses, they generally mention their course projects also. So yeah, if you want to just fill up space, that is also a good way to fill up space.
Thanks for taking that, sir. And one follow-up question that I had was about the CGPA criteria. So, what is it like for most software companies that come in the CGPA criteria? If you can give us a rough idea.
I don't have exactly the best idea, but I think it is around 8 or 8.5. So some companies have 8.5, some have 8. But I think, yeah, that's the case. And there are some companies that are open, like they have no CGPA cutoff, but maybe others can highlight on that. I think 8 or 8.5 is the usual criteria.
Cool.
Okay, preparing for technical interviews can be quite a challenge. What kind of question does the interviewer ask in a technical round, and how did you guys prepare for it? Kushal sir, can you answer this question?
Yeah, they ask CP questions. Uh, so yeah, the kind of questions which are asked in the test, the same kind of questions will be asked in interviews, but they can be a bit more involved. And yeah, you have to think about it. They will give you time, but yeah, if you like do your CP, it will be easier. So for Rubrik, they asked me two questions, and like 1 hour each for each question, and one was on dynamic programming, and the other was on like let us say like implementing a new data structure based on maps and sets. So yes, interview is also technical, and that is what matters. Also for the interview, I would suggest doing some mock interviews with your friends, so that will give you confidence. And you can also like prepare for these HR type questions like what are your ambitions, and like how do you view yourself, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and like how do you plan things, and how do you like how do you make a plan and prepare for stuff. These types of questions they asked to me in Rubrik. Like an HR person came after the technical round was over, and they asked me these questions. But these are not that relevant, but yeah, they will give you confidence, and yeah, confidence is required. um,
Okay, Manas, sir, would you like to share technical inter experience?
Yeah, building on the last thing Kushal said, confidence is very important. मतलब, just be cool, calm. ठीक है. You know what you need to know to solve whatever they give in the interview. बस the interview is actually also looking at कि तुम कैसे सोच रहे हो, कितना confident हो. I remember my interviews. ठीक है. जिन इंटरव्यूज में मैं कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं था फट रही थी. ठीक है. दे वेंट बैड, एंड जिनमें कॉन्फिडेंट था वो अच्छे गए थे. लाइक यही था ट्रेंड सारे सारे इंटरव्यूज का. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड वो लास्ट डे पे सबके साथ होगा. मतलब ये तो सब ही फेस करेंगे, हर किसी को जिटर्स होंगे कि यार डर लग रहा है. ठीक है. आई से बस फॉरगेट एवरीथिंग एंड कॉन्फिडेंट रहना. ठीक है. उसके अलावा इट वाज ऑल सीपी. मतलब इफ यू प्रिपेयर्ड इनफ इन दीज 2 months, ठीक है, कि तुमने वो टेस्ट दिए, तुम इंटरव्यू स्टेज तक पहुंचे हो, यू नो एवरीथिंग दैट यू नीड टू नो फॉर द टेस्ट. ठीक है. तो देयर इज नो स्पेशल प्रिपरेशन फॉर द इंटरव्यू. ठीक है. HR क्वेश्चंस की हाँ थोड़ी बहुत प्रिपरेशन कर लेना. कुछ ऐसा मत कहना बस कि मतलब कि बहुत रेड हो जाओ तुम कि हाँ इसको तो नहीं लेना है. बाकी ठीक ठाक कर लेना. इतनी बड़ी चीज़ नहीं होती सॉफ्टवेयर में, बिकॉज बेसिकली जो तुम्हें चाहिए था फॉर देम टू टेक यू इन, वो तुम ऑलरेडी बता चुके हो उनको. ठीक है. ऑलरेडी शो कर चुके हो. मेरे जो क्वेश्चंस थे इंटरव्यूज में, दे फोकस्ड ऑन लाइक बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स लाइक बेलमैन फोर्ड या बाइनरी सर्च एंड आंसर या ट्रीज, जो ऑलरेडी आते थे. एंड दी ओनली थिंग वाज कि पेन एंड पेपर पे लिखा था, उन्होंने क्वेश्चन बोला एंड पेन एंड पेपर पे हमें एल्गोरिथम बताना था, एंड वी हैड टू टेल देम कि हम सोच कैसे रहे थे. दैट्स नॉट समथिंग यू हैव टू डू इन सीपी. मतलब तुम बहुत ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड चीज़ें सोच सकते हो एंड कुछ भी फिर प्रोग्राम कर सकते हो, एंड ओनली यू नो कि वो चीज़ें कैसे चल रही हैं, एंड दे विल कम टुगेदर टू गिव द राइट आंसर. दैट्स ऑल राइट. बट जब तुम्हें इंटरव्यू में एक्सप्लेन करना है, तुम्हें थोड़ा सिंपल वर्ड्स में लिखना है ताकि तुम सामने वाले को भी एक्सप्लेन कर पाओ. ठीक है. तो थोड़ा सिंप्लिसिटी भी आना पड़ता है. ठीक है. बट अदरवाइज इट्स ओके. मतलब मैंने एक चीज़ बस ये ऐड की थी कि मैं कॉन्स्टेंटली इंटरव्यूअर से पूछता रहता था कि व्हाट डायरेक्शन डू यू वांट मी टू थिंक इन, या फिर अगर मैं कुछ डायरेक्शन में सोच रहा हूँ तो मैं सोच रहा हूँ इज दिस द राइट डायरेक्शन. ठीक है, कि ऐसे सोचना चाहिए क्या. एंड देन वो अपने आप बताते कि यस दिस इज द राइट डायरेक्शन, तो यू नो कि चलो ठीक है मैं सही सोच रहा हूँ, आगे सोचता है. या फिर दे विल टेल यू कि नहीं आई डोंट वांट टू थिंक लाइक दिस, ऐसे सोचो. ठीक है. तो देन यू नो व्हाट टू प्रोसीड. तो मतलब ये क्वेश्चन कॉन्स्टेंटली पूछते रहना. इट इज दिस इंटरव्यू इज अ डिस्कशन. इट्स नॉट लाइक अगेन वो क्वेश्चन देंगे तुम आंसर करोगे. तुम सीपी का टेस्ट नहीं दे रहे हो एक्चुअली में ऑनलाइन. ठीक है. तो उनसे पूछते रहना कॉन्स्टेंटली चीज़ें, एंड आई थिंक उसके बाद हो जाएगा. दैट्स इट.
So one question that I had is, जैसे technical interviews में sometimes they also ask the core CS concepts like computer architecture या programming languages. So somebody from a non-circuital branch or somebody from non-CS branches, could you give us an idea on how to prepare for these core CS concepts?
Okay, so a few companies ask these questions. Yeah, Manas, you can speak after me. So currently in Rubrik, they did not ask me these questions. In last year, they were not asked. But I heard in office they will ask these questions this year. So you have to prepare for them. So regarding architecture, it is not very difficult. There are not a lot of questions like numerical based, which can be asked in computer architecture. So maybe you can search online for these questions, like learn about caches and page tables and uh, yeah, on Geeks for Geeks or some other sites. So it should be easy. Uh, and apart from that, some companies also ask about object-oriented programming concepts like, as Divyanshu said, virtual functions and inheritance and all that. That is also easier than CP. Like you can do all these things in like 2-3 days. So yes, you can search online for these questions, specifically for interview questions. which are asked in architecture and object-oriented programming, and you should be good to go.
Manoj, so could you take the question next?
यार दिस इज समथिंग जो मैंने भी बहुत सोची थी बिफोर द इंटरव्यूज, ठीक है, बिकॉज बीइंग इन इलेक्ट्रिकल तो हमें लगता तो है कि थोड़ा डिसएडवांटेज होगा कंपेयर टू सीएस, ठीक है. दे मस्ट हैव, उन्हें जो पढ़ाया है दैट इज प्रोबेबली एग्जैक्टली मतलब रेलिवेंट रहता है टू द क्वेश्चंस इन द इंटरव्यू. सो आइड से कि मतलब इतना मत सोचना इस चीज़ के बारे में, ठीक है. इफ यू आर गुड एट द एल्गोरिथम्स पार्ट, ठीक है, द रेस्ट इज वेरी इजी. मतलब बहुत स्मॉल पोर्शन होता है. मेरा फन पार्ट क्या होता है ग्रेविटॉन में, ठीक है. उन्होंने मुझसे पूछ लिया कि कंप्यूटर आर्किटेक्चर आता है क्या तुम्हें, और मैंने कह दिया नहीं आता. ऐसा नो स्ट्रेट अप, इवन दो मैंने कुछ कुछ पढ़ लिया था गूगल से, मैंने कहा मुझे नहीं आता. एंड सो दे डिलिबरेटेड फॉर लाइक 3-4 मिनट्स की मेरे साथ कि मेरे साथ करना क्या है, ठीक है. एंड देन दे डिसाइडेड टू आस्क मोर सीपी क्वेश्चंस जो मैंने आंसर कर दिए, एंड देन दे फाइनली गिव मी द ऑफर. तो इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है, ठीक है. फोकस ऑन व्हाट यू आर गुड एट. थोड़ी चीज़ें हैं लाइक से जो डिराइव्ड क्लासेस, इनकैप्सुलेशन, इनहेरिटेंस वगैरह, ठीक है. ये सब चीज़ें पढ़ लेना जो बेसिक्स हैं, एंड बहुत जल्दी पढ़ लोगे, बहुत इजीली आंसर भी कर लोगे. बट डोंट डाइव इनटू द ओशन कि इतनी सारी चीज़ें, पूरा इनका कंप्यूटर आर्किटेक्चर पढ़ूंगा, पूरा प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस पढ़ूंगा. इतना रेलिवेंट नहीं रहता है, इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस भी नहीं आते हैं, ठीक है. मुझसे उन्होंने केस स्विच स्टेटमेंट्स का थोड़ा पूछा था, मैंने कह दिया कि नहीं आता, ठीक है. सो दे मूव्ड ऑन टू द थिंग्स दैट आई न्यू. तो इतना मत सोचना इस चीज़ के बारे में. वर्क ऑन योर स्किल्स, एंड जो चीज़ तुम पहले कर सकते हो इजीली, ठीक है. डोंट गो टुवर्ड्स द ओशन जहाँ पे तुम्हें पता भी नहीं कि सारी चीज़ें कितनी रेलेवेंट रहेंगी, ठीक है.
Manasa, can you quickly tell us about your work experience at Graviton?
यार it's, एक वर्ड में कहने का कोई तरीका नहीं है, इट्स ग्रेट. मैंने एक्सपेक्ट, मतलब हम काफ़ी सारे सीनियर से सुनते हैं कि HFTs का वर्क कल्चर काफ़ी ख़राब है, ठीक है. सो दैट इज़ द काइंड ऑफ इमेज जो होती है जाने से पहले. बट ग्रेविटॉन का वर्क कल्चर बहुत अच्छा है. मतलब आई कांट एक्सप्रेस इट. हम लोग इतने मज़े करते हैं, ठीक है, कॉन्स्टेंटली. मतलब हम लोग HR के मज़े लेता रहता हूँ मैं कॉन्स्टेंटली, ठीक है. कुछ भी बोल देता हूँ उन्हें, ठीक है. हम लोग वर्क के बीच में बड़ी से मज़े लेते हैं. हम लोग जाके बीच में पूल खेल रहे होते हैं, फुटबॉल खेल रहे होते हैं, ठीक है. एंड इट्स अ वेरी फन कल्चर. लोग मतलब टी-शर्ट क्रॉक्स में आ जाते हैं कभी कभार ऑफिस में. हमारे मेंटर्स आते हैं ऐसे, ठीक है. तो एकदम प्रॉपर से जो लोगों का इंटरेक्शन लेवल पे वो कॉलेज का कल्चर बना रखा है, ठीक है. तो बहुत कूल रहता है. बट देन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द वर्क पे सब सीरियस है, ठीक है. कि मतलब हमारे जो वर्किंग आवर्स हैं, हम लोग यूजुअली 10 AM to 8 PM रहते हैं, ठीक है, ऑफिस में, ठीक है. एंड मोस्टली 8:30 के अराउंड सब निकलते हैं. तो यू कैन इमेजिन कि मतलब पूरा दिन खत्म हो गया. लोग यूजुअली शायद 5 o'clock के अराउंड निकलते हैं, हम 8 o'clock के अराउंड निकलते हैं. एंड काम जो दिया है वो करना ही है. देयर इज नो फन इन दर. मतलब कि तुम नहीं दे रहे हो, नहीं कर रहे हो 1-2 दिन के लिए. काम पे सब सीरियस है, ठीक है. बट उसके अलावा जितना फन करना है कर सकते हो, ठीक है. तो वर्क कल्चर उस हिसाब से बहुत अच्छा है. मतलब
Also, one follow-up question that I had was जैसे quant roles के लिए this is high CGPA का requirement. So similarly SD roles के लिए in quant firms, in trading firms, is there the similar requirement?
डेफिनेटली. आई मीन मोस्ट, शायद ऑल फर्म्स, ठीक है, जो सीजी रिक्वायरमेंट वो क्वांट्स के लिए रखती हैं, वो सॉफ्टवेयर के लिए भी सेम रखती हैं. मतलब आई डोंट रिमेंबर एनी एग्जांपल इन दिस सीजन जिसने एक डिफरेंट क्राइटेरिया रखा था. मुझे अच्छे से याद भी है शायद सबके. कोडाई का 9 था, एंड इन 3 कंपनीज था 8.5 था, एंड बाकी मैक्सिमम का 8 था, ठीक है. मतलब 5 कंपनीज का 8 था, बाकी 3 8.5 ऐसे था. तो सबने SD एंड सॉरी मैं कोडाई का शायद 8.5 था, सबने SD एंड क्वांट का सेम रखा हुआ था, ठीक है. तो ऐसा तो नहीं होगा कि क्वांट के लिए एक डिफरेंट कट ऑफ है, SD के लिए डिफरेंट, ठीक है. प्रोबेबली इनफैक्ट मुझे याद, ये बात शायद याद भी है कि आई मीन जितने अभी इंटर्न्स हैं 20 इंटर्न्स अभी ग्रेविटॉन में इस टर्म में, शायद मेरी लोएस्ट CGP है, ठीक है, सब में से. तो इतने नहीं, उन्होंने 8 की रखी थी, एंड उसके बाद थी, एंड दैट वाज इट. मतलब उन्होंने कोई डिफरेंट ऐसा नहीं रखा था क्वांट्स एंड SD के बाद.
Okay. Vidushi ma'am, what advice and guidance would you give to a student just moving into his or second year?
I think if he's like in so fresher and going to be a sophomore, I would recommend like he should consistently devote some time to competitive programming, like beginning from now only. it definitely helps a lot and gives you a edge before others. So like it's better to start and devote some time regularly on code forces and like if you have to like currently तो DSA भी नहीं किया होगा. So yeah, if it's better if you focus on DSA topics as well whenever you take up the course, and yeah, give some time to competitive programming. Yeah.
दिव्यांशु सर आप भी बोलना चाहोगे इस बारे में कुछ?
Yeah, so I'll add that if you have not done like programming in general till now, like programming for like contest programming and all that, so then in that case, I think starting from something like lead code would be easier, and giving like doing questions on lead code or HackerRank would be better. And yeah, to add, HackerRank is a good platform to practice on because I saw that most companies had HackerRank as a platform, so you can get acquainted to that. So yeah, doing on these platforms can be easier for you if you're already doing competitive programming and all that. So you can just keep, and like if you do on codeforces or codeshell something like that, so you can just keep continue with that, and then at the end, like Manas said, you can just like brush up with doing some lead code questions and all that. Other than that, I would say don't overthink on your resume, like I mentioned before, and don't think. And if you don't have a research intern, that doesn't matter at all. Don't over stress about that because that is also not something that is seen a lot. So I'll just say that improve on your programming skills. Your CG has been like fixed, so you can't change that. So if your CG is above 8 or 8.5, you'll get shortlisted for most of the companies. So you have a good chance, and once you're shortlisted, your CG doesn't matter. So a person with an 8.5 CG and an 9.5 CG is same once they're shortlisted. So the only thing that they check after that is your programming skills. So it's good time to brush them up and just be confident during the interviews and all that. That is very important. And other than that, I've seen some very good people don't get a day one intern, something like that. So don't get too much demotivated by that. There are good companies in day two as well. And uh, so yeah, you can or like getting a day two company is not something bad, and you should always be ready for that. Don't get demotivated if you don't get your dream intern on day one. And I remember some senior mentioning in his like when he gave his talk that don't have a company in your mind. Yeah, I want to go and work in this company. At the time of interns, this thing doesn't matter. And honestly, things don't roll out the way you think. You may get shortlisted for some companies which you didn't expect to get shortlisted and all that. So don't have a lot of preconceived notions that I want to get into this particular company or this company is paying the best. I want to get into this, something like that. You might end up in an intern that you never expected, and I think you should be happy about that. You should be satisfied about it.
Right, I guess we are pretty much done with the main questions. Now हमारे पास कुछ सवाल है जो फॉर्म रिस्पॉन्सेस से हमने we have taken these questions. So one question is that GSOC and other के जो coding competitions होते हैं, the popular ones, how relevant are they for someone going for an SDA profile?
Okay, so GSOC, ICPC, and I guess the Facebook or Meta Cup, these are like it will be good if you give them, like if you are interested in CP, but in relation to the internship or tests and interviews, these are not very relevant, and it doesn't matter like if you give them or not. On the other hand, giving contests regularly on code forces and code chef, that will definitely help you because these are regular contests and you will form a habit, and like you can regularly do 5-6 questions based on these contests every 3 or 4 days, and that will definitely help you. So I would suggest code forces and code chef are more relevant or the internship at least. And these other competitions like for example ICPC and GSOC, these are tougher than these code forces competitions, but yeah, they can give you like it can be fun participating with the team in these contests, but yeah, they are not relevant in respect to the internships.
Thanks for taking that.
Okay, so Vidushi ma'am, if someone in their second year has not started CP, so how should they go about doing their prep in this summer break?
Yeah, so as I have mentioned earlier as well, if someone is new to CP and hasn't tried anything, so basic stuff clear करना is more important पहले. So you can uh, practice topic wise things and then main take time for time constraint contest on codeforces maybe or code chef also. So if you haven't started yet, it's good if you devote time effectively and utilize the summer break in the best way possible.
So I guess we have a final question for the day. So guys, what other companies had you guys applied for? And if you're aware of their preparation strategies, apart from your company as well, could you share the same with us, as in the application procedure, the CV that they look out for, and the number of rounds and interviews that they are there? So let's start with Divyanshu sir.
So I had applied to I think most of the HFT companies and the software roles that came. So and I think everyone should apply to most of the companies. So because you'll have more chances of getting an intern if you do that. And so specific to companies, I think some companies like in quant companies they prefer if you have done some math contest in the past, something like that. And CP is of course something that everyone sees. Then, for example, I remember October was one company that had a long series of tests, so you can't really prepare for them. Just give them, and hopefully you'll get selected. And other than that, there were companies, for example, Quada was one company which I remember didn't have a test. So their main shortlisting criteria was JE rank and CG. So if you have a good CG, something like above 9 and a good JE rank, so you have good chances of getting shortlisted for Quad. Then, for example, Samsung, in which I've got shortlisted, so in which I'm working, so has a bit different test structure. What they do is they give you a 3-hour test and you have to solve one programming question. So it is not exactly a CP question. It is like a implementation question. It is not very hard to do, but it takes time to implement. So that was what Samsung did. So they had this one long question to do, and Samsung specifically, for some reason, they only take candidates from CS and E, and even from CS they don't take from 5 year for some reason. So yeah, so that's about Samsung. And after that, they had this interview. So in which they asked me some machine learning questions, something like that, some simple machine learning idea question. And about other companies, I think that's what I can remember. Maybe others can answer about other companies that they can think of.
Manas sir, could you continue?
Yep. I mean, क्वांट कंपनीज वगैरह का तो कवर्ड ही होगा कल कि क्या क्या मतलब उनका प्रोसीजर रहता है एंड की ब्रेन स्ट्रक्चर वगैरह वो सब जो प्रैक्टिस करना होता है दैट्स राइट. बाकी मेरी जिनमें इंटरव्यूज थे एनके एनके का लाइक एनके टुक अ टेस्ट एंड देन दे शॉर्टलिस्टेड एनके टुक वन टेस्ट फॉर बोथ प्रोफाइल्स. ठीक है, सॉफ्टवेयर एंड क्वांट, एंड देन दे शॉर्टलिस्टेड फॉर बोथ ऑन बेसिस ऑफ दैट. ओके, एंड देन इन द इंटरव्यू दे आस्क्ड यू बोथ टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, एंड उसके हिसाब से गेज कर रहे थे कि व्हाट यू आर बेटर एट, एंड अगर तुम किसी का भी मेट्रिक क्लियर कर लोगे दिल टेक यू देयर. ग्रेविटॉन का भाई था सिंपल, अगेन सीपी टेस्ट था. ठीक है, एंड देन इंटरव्यू में दे वेंट इन हेवीली ऑन द सीपी क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, एंड वहीं पे डिसीजन हो रहा था उसी पॉइंट पे कि मतलब इफ यू सॉल्व देम वेल तो ठीक है हो जाएगा. वहीं पे था. उसके अलावा स्प्रिंकलर का था कि फर्स्ट राउंड में उन्होंने मुझसे 3 सीपी के क्वेश्चंस दिए. ठीक है, एंड आई हैड टू राइट स्यूडो कोड फॉर ऑल ऑफ देम. वहीं पे उनके मतलब उनका ऐसा था कि दी पर्सन टेकिंग द इंटरव्यू वाज नॉट एन आइडियली, वो ओवर एक तरीके से वीडियो कॉल हो रहा था. ठीक है, सो आई हैड टू राइट द स्यूडो कोड फॉर दोस 3 क्वेश्चंस ऑन अ गूगल डॉक व्हिच वाज शेयर्ड विद देम. ठीक है, एंड देन इन द सेकंड राउंड दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट माय प्रोजेक्ट्स. ठीक है, एंड एक प्रोजेक्ट जो छोटा सा था उसका स्यूडो कोड लिखने को बोला उन्होंने एंड एक्सप्लेन इट टू देम एट द सेम टाइम. So I wrote the entire pseudocode for that project in the meet and on the Google Doc. And third उनका HR round था. HR round में basic questions थे कि मतलब where do you see yourself going and वगैरह वगैरह. तो वो प्रोसेस सिंपल था. EPT की ट्रेडिंग का था कि EPT की ट्रेडिंग में उन्होंने CPA क्वेश्चंस पूछ रखे थे, which is not normal for trading roles generally. Usually उनके टेस्ट में क्वांट क्वेश्चंस ही पूछा, उन्होंने CPA क्वेश्चंस पूछ रखे थे. And then in the interview उन्होंने वही पजल्स पूछे ब्रेन स्टेलर वगैरह से. ठीक है, एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट जज करे थे. गोल्डमैन सैक्स कैसा था कि उन्होंने जो टेस्ट लिया that involved both things, and on the basis of that वो चेक कर रहे थे कि if you've crossed a certain metric for either quant or CP, then they'll shortlist you. ठीक है. And then उन्होंने फिर टेस्ट में आके सबसे पहले पूछा कि we've shortlisted you for this role. ठीक है. अगर तुम्हें चेंज करना है दूसरे वाले में तो बता दो, वरना हम इसी के क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे. ठीक है. Yeah, that was it. इतना का मुझे पता है.
Right. Kushal sir, will you take it from here?
For Rubrik, they asked CP questions, as I said to you, and for Count Box also, they asked 2-3 CP questions related to trees and graphs, and also asked one question on the quant side. So for that, you can like study from Brainsteller and Zinfeng Zhu. So Zinfeng Zhu is a good book. Also on in NK Securities, they asked one question directly from Zinfeng Zhu. So yeah, that was easy for me. Like I made it look like I didn't know, and I was thinking through it, but I already knew the whole answer. So yeah, that was good. And apart from that, for Google also they will ask CP questions, and in Microsoft they have two roles. So for the data science role, they will ask questions based on machine learning, and also in Samsung also, I think they asked AI questions. So yeah, if you have prepared for ML or AI, so you can apply for these companies. Apart from that, in Quadai, they asked one simple question and they like shortlisted in like 5-10 minutes. So they focus a lot on CG. So that is true for a lot of quant companies like Tower and Tower, Kodai, etc. And in Optiver, the process is very weird. They will ask some random question, which like you have to make up some BS, and like the process is very weird. And in Jain Street, Jain Street interviews are definitely harder. They will ask a lot of the math questions are very tough and mathematical. So yes, if you're like you can sharpen your mathematical skills, like do questions on Brainsteller and Zinfeng Zhu. And so yeah, these are more on the quant side because most of the interviews were of quant. Yeah, these are mostly all which I have.
Vidushi ma'am.
Yeah, so in Google there were two rounds, both were coding rounds. Coding test was for shortlisting. There was no HR round. In JPMC, I gave in JPMC there were two interviews. First interview was on like probability stats. Second was on coding based. Third interview was on object oriented programming. So these three were the interviews for JPMC. Goldman, there were 2 to 3 coding rounds and then the HR round. So yeah, that's all I.
Right. Thanks, guys. So I guess we'll conclude the session here. Thanks a lot for taking out time on this weekend. And I guess this was pretty motivating for a lot of the audience that is present today. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.